Today is Monday, 2/22, February 22nd. My parents, my mom and dad, Herb and Gloria Barker, their favorite number in life was 222. So I love that. So everyone knows I'm a parent of a almost 15-year-old daughter, my youngest, and I'm happy, proud to say 58 years old with a almost 15-year-old, which, like I could be the grandmother, but I'm not. So I am really, really super stoked right now because we've got Celia Kibler here talking about pumped up parenting and the yelling part of it, helping us to not yell, which I don't think I yell. My daughter will say you yell. So that's kind of like almost, Celia, like where I want to start with this. So hello. And first of all, tell us where you are.
Well, hello, and hello to all your viewers. I am just outside of Baltimore, Maryland. So I'm here on the East Coast of the United States with a little bit of snow and, lots of cold weather.
So what made you start this whole parenting journey?
Well, I am also a parent. I'm a parent of 5 children. 2 I gave birth to and 3 I gained through marriage. And I am a grandma to 9 children. And I am not too far off from your age. I actually just turned 63 a few days ago. And I co-founded a kids fitness company with my sister back in 1987 called Funfit. And so for decades, I've worked with kids and their parents, and I've really seen parenting styles change over that time. And I guess I've always coached parents. They've always asked for advice. I've always helped them. But in 2016, I decided, I should be doing this for a living because I've raised 5 amazing children through a blended marriage. We've been successful in all of it. They're great parents. I've lived through almost every type of issue that comes up during somebody's parenting journey. I found successful solutions to those problems. And since I'm giving advice anyway, I might as well make it my business. And I love it. I'm from a wonderful set of parents, but my dad was a yeller and he shouted a lot at us and at my mom. And certain things result when you get yelled at as a child. A lot of things result, a lot of voices in your head. And so I decided to go on a mission to stop 1 million parents from yelling at their kids. And that's like my heart and soul.
So what kind of trauma does evolve around yelling at your children?
What happens to a child when you yell at them, and I'm sure for you listeners, think about it. If you are yelled at, I want you to think, do you feel this way? Because number one, kids feel like they never do anything right. When they're yelled at constantly, they constantly second guess themselves, and you wind up second guessing yourself into adulthood. I actually did it the other day, and my husband even said to me, "Why are you second guessing yourself?" Because even now, even as, in tune as I am with myself, that still comes up. And you second guess yourself. You feel like you're not good enough. You think that you're not worthy of anything, worthy of love, worthy of success. None of those things exist for you. You lack confidence. You lack self-esteem. And basically, the really sad part that happens is when a child is constantly yelled at, they don't hate their parents. They grow up hating themselves. And it's huge, destructive.
Right. Repeat that one more time. That's a wow.
Okay,
I'm just going to repeat it one more time.
One more time. When children are constantly yelled at and called names and live in an aggressive household, they do not grow up hating you. They grow up hating themselves.
Well, if that doesn't stop someone from yelling. So my first question is this. So let's just take my age, 58 years old. You're just a little bit older. Was it more common that our parents were yellers more compared to today's parents?
I think it depends on the parents. I think it was more, it was okay, with society if you spanked your kids, if you yelled at them. A lot of cultures think that's the only way you'll get your kids to listen. How many people think if I don't yell, they don't listen. That's like, out of almost every mouth of a parent. And it's simply not true. But, back in the day when I was raised, when you were raised, yelling was okay. People yelled, people spanked. There was none of this, are you abusing your child? So that for the most part, unless you weren't drastically abusing your child, didn't even come into play. You were the parent. You were allowed to parent however you wanted to parent. And in the case of my dad, he came from a father who was physically and mentally abusive. And gratefully, he did not carry that physical abuse into our family, but he did certainly carry the mental abuse.
So the yelling part, so my daughter said to the other day, actually, she's like, you yell. And I'm like, I really don't yell, but I wonder if her perception of yelling, because I really, I raising the 3 older boys, sure, I'm sure I yelled, but at 58 years old, I'm pretty calm and pretty cool. And like, I don't really feel like I'm screaming, but I don't even know what yelling kind of looks like anymore. Cause I would go on the stand and say, I do not yell. Maybe I raise my voice a little higher, but I don't I don't know. Like, it's weird to say, but can you, what does yelling look like?
So for children, like when you're screaming, if you ask a parent, you'll say, why do you yell? And they'll say, well, I asked them nicely and I use my manners the first time and then nothing happens. And then I go back and I use my manners the second time and nothing happens. And I do that the third and the fourth time. By the fourth time, I'm screaming, get off your game system and come down for dinner, and it's a rude type of communication. It's aggressive. We are not using our manners. We are not smiling. We are not being calm and pleasant. We are raging. As opposed to speaking firmly to a child. I tell parents, in my book, Raising Happy Toddlers, if your child goes to hit you, you grab their arm and you say firmly to them, eye to eye, I will not let you hit me. Not in this house, we don't hit that. No, you are the mommy. You are the daddy. I will not let you hit, period. But you're not yelling, you're being firm. I'll tell you a funny example. So I do birthday parties in my Funfit programs. And I did a birthday party for 39-year-olds. Yes, 30 of them. And it was outside. Now, clearly, I had to be a little loud outside. But I'm a loud person anyway, And at the end of the party, this little 9-year-old walks over to his mom and goes, Mom, that was the best party. I really like Miss Celia. I really like her. She's a little bossy, but I really like her. So I tell parents, that's what you need to be. You need to be a little bossy, but being firm is a lot different. Screaming and yelling aggressively out of control. When you are yelling, you are not in control of your emotions.
All right. So I'm sure I am guilty of that, and I need to work more on it, because it's the day that you wrote to me to speak, literally it was the same time that I was having my issues with my daughter. And it is really hard. I'd like to talk about teens right now, because they're home. Well, she goes to school, but a lot of them are home. My little granddaughter in Connecticut is home, and there's so much anxiety, so much stress for them. And so my daughter is really dealing with all of that. And part of her stress is the fact that she does tell me everything, but then her friends are like, oh, you tell your, she's getting insulted for it. So now she's hiding it. And so she'll say, well, I don't tell you everything, and almost using it to for her own sense of, I think, stability. I know I'm not using the right word, stability, but so she'll say to me, well, I don't tell you everything. You don't know everything about me. And I'm thinking to myself, I really do. I mean, do I know everything when you're in high school? I mean, you kind of came out of my hoochie and I know who you are. So, but I don't want to, I'm really being sensitive to her right now because of all the stress.
She's being, she's saving face with her friends because, one of the things we have to remember about the human brain is the human brain doesn't fully develop until you're 25 years old. And this is super important. And I tell parents this all the time, because you have to realize that you are never speaking to an adult. None of these children from 2 to 12 to 18, are they adults yet? They are not working with fully developed brains. It is our job to teach them. With a teenager, you get 3 bonus things that pop in to the brain. And those 3 bonus things, and everyone that has a teenager is going to go, oh, I get it, is friends take priority. Sorry, do not take it personally, parents. It is not against you. It's just their brain is wired for friendship. Number 2, taking risks is elevated in their brain. It becomes a part of their wiring that they can take risks, which is why if you think back to your teenagerhood, you were a lot more willing to do some crazy things than you are now. And number 3, they have an incredibly powerful sense to belong. And I'm telling you, parents, if you don't let them know that they are part of this family and this is where they belong and this is where the people that love you have your back, they'll go find someplace to belong, and it's not going to be good. It's not going to be anywhere you want them belonging to. So for kids, to answer your question, Adrian, for teenagers, they also have to save face. They have to be cool. We were all cool teenagers, or not. And, but, so I always tell parents to give your kids permission to slam you. Give your kids permission to be cool and use you as a scapegoat, and be like, like if they're at a party and they don't feel comfortable and they want to go home, create some kind of signal that says, help, come pick me up, and use the excuse, go, oh my gosh, my dumb mom is, let them call you names. Who cares? Doesn't have anything to do with reality, has to do with them saving face with their friends, which is vitally important in the teenage years, So let them say, oh, my stupid mom, she always wants to come get me at this time. We have a special popcorn movie night at 11 o'clock on Saturdays, whatever. Let them do anything, because it is not intentional. It is not meant to hurt you. Do not take it personally, please. It is meant to get them safely out of a situation that they don't feel comfortable in, and saving face with their friends and not being made fun of or bullied or ridiculed, because that's going to be what's destructive to their soul. So,
wow, I have a really strong memory of being downstairs. I remember my mom was standing by the washer and dryer in the basement of our house, and I had the phone. So I must have had, I must either have the phone, or I don't know, but I remember I was the phone that my friend could hear me. And I remember saying to my mom, oh, I want to go out and blah, blah, blah. But I was saying, no, I really don't want to go out. And my mom read me and she said, no, honey, you can't go out. But the sad part of that story is that night, this beautiful girl, my friend, ended up getting into a car accident, and the person that she was I know. So it was it was crazy, because I was that close to going out with her. But my mom must have understood at the time.
Told you. And God bless your mom for reading your signals.
My mom. But the other thing I remember at that age, and I kind of understand this with my daughter too, is that I remember this actually kind of went a little bit older too, even past the 25, is just not liking that my mom knew more than me. And I don't understand why. I don't understand my feeling, but I see that with my daughter, that in her mind, I don't really know anything. And so she's trying to kind of create this illusion to herself that, what do I know? What does my mom know? She doesn't know anything. Is that also kind of normal?
It is very normal, because of course everybody thinks they're living their own life, which they are technically, but we've all lived it too. And so a great way to get around that is if you find your child in a scenario where, they're talking about, they're questioning it, whatever, bring up something similar that happened to you when you were a teenager. If they're in a situation where somebody's offering them alcohol and they're like, well, I don't know if I should. We all were offered alcohol at some point in our teenage life. So bring that up. Be authentic with your kids. You know what? I was at this woman's house and she offered me a drink, and I hear she's drinking and this other person's drinking, and I didn't want to drink, and I felt so funny. And I just decided to say no. I just told her it makes me sick and I throw up, and that actually happens to be a true story. But, and I've never really drank. I don't like drinking, and I've always been like the world's designated driver. But, it's, be authentic with them. Let them know this is how I felt. This is what, it's not that they're going through the identical thing, but they may be going through a similar thing, and it may give them a little more awareness into whatever it is they're, struggling with.
Okay. And then one more personal question as I'm getting my free therapy going on.
Ask away. Ask away.
All right. Okay, so I do watch way too many TV shows. I was Tucson, Arizona has a program called Sold No More, Power Over Predators. So I learned that program and worked with the owner of that program. I feel I am consistently nervous. I am a horrible helicopter mom, and I did have a situation, I'm embarrassed to tell you, last night. So my daughter wants to take walks at night in our we have a beautiful community, but I'm still nervous. So I said to her, so Saturday night we had the same thing, and she's really mad at me because I ended up taking the walk with her, and she was like, what are you doing? So I just said, Alana, blame it on Lifetime. I'm watching too many Lifetime movies. I'll just follow you. Don't worry about Alana. At one point she's like, my husband drove because he was also feeling nervous. And then my daughter's like, get in the car with Dad. And I'm like, if I get in the car with Dad, we're just going to be 10 feet away from you, following you in the car. So might as well have me walk. Anyways, last night I said, yes, Alana, go take a walk, because I have her Snapchat. So I see where she is on Snapchat. So now she's gone for about 55 minutes exactly. And I look on Snapchat and I say to my husband, get dressed, because we're like early birds. I'm like, get dressed. We got to walk, because Alana's just standing in this, she's just standing there. And I'm really nervous. So we go over and we kind of I see where, and I'm like, Al, oh my God. I'm like, I am freaking out now. I'm knocking on people's doors. Is my daughter in there? Luckily, nobody was home, which is kind of crazy. And then we walked back to where we lived. She wasn't home yet. So then we go out. Now I'm on the phone with her boyfriend. I'm texting her, by the way. No response. And I said to my husband, I go, very well, could be that her phone is dead, but that doesn't stop me from having this terror feeling. So, I want to call the police. I'm like, oh my God, where is she? What do you do? And then all of this is hitting me in the head. I'm totally scared. And then Alana calls me and she's like, what are you doing? I'm home. So how do I help myself and help my daughter? Because yes, I will admit it on the show that I am a freak and I am really, really scared. And I feel bad that I'm giving it to my daughter, but she calls me. That's so if she was here, she'd say my mom is a helicopter mom and she can't stand it. She feels like I'm not giving her any freedom, and I'm truly not.
Okay. Well, don't feel badly. Do not think that you're alone in this. We all worry about our kids. My kids are all in their 30s, and you have older kids, and I'm sure you still worry about them. But the thing that we have to do as parents is we have to remember, my tagline for Pumped Up Parenting is not put there by accident. My tagline is because we're raising adults, not children. And that's what you have to remember. You have to remember that you are raising an adult. They're already children. Your job is to raise a confident, self-sufficient, happy, kind, polite, energetic grown-up. That's your job. And the problem is when you micromanage them and you constantly hover, you are not giving them the chance to learn and to grow and to gain their independence. What you should be doing is giving them proactive ways to keep themselves safe. I just went live in my Pumped Up Parenting group on Facebook about stranger danger, because I don't really agree with the word stranger danger, because for the most part, everyone your child meets in life, the majority of them are strangers. The doctor's a stranger. The secretary of school's a stranger until you get to know him. This one's a stranger. Your mailman's a stranger. Your trash man's a stranger. Your neighbor, it could be a stranger. So are you really going to make them live in fear their entire lives by assuming that everyone that's out there is a horrible human being and is out to get them? No, we want them to be friendly. We want them to smile at someone walking down the street. We want to say hello. We want them to be, generous and polite and compassionate. So you need to teach them proactive ways of knowing when something doesn't feel right. When something doesn't feel right, and I know that we feel funny in our stomach. We get, butterflies. We get anxious. Our body tingles. We feel the feelings that our brain generates throughout our body when something isn't right. And that's what you have to teach your children to recognize. And if something's not right, I don't care where you are, you run like a wild person. Just go, get out of there as much as you can. If you have a phone, you call for help. If you go to someone's house and that's a safe place to go there. If there's somewhere, a supermarket or something that you can go into, you get yourself safe. And you have to give them the tools that they need to be that way, because we can't be with our kids every minute of the day. I mean, if we worry about their safety, they're not with us in school. They're not with us, at a neighbor's house. And honestly, the people that harm our kids the most, 75% of the people that harm kids are family. So you're like, okay, well, they're over at their cousin's house for a sleepover. That's safe. And yet maybe it isn't. So, we have to give them the tools they need to keep themselves safe, the little warning signals, I'll try to speak, that you have between each other that says, you know what, I'm in trouble, pick me up. That ability to use you as an excuse, anything they need to keep them safe, because we can't be there with them all the time, unfortunately. And you also can't spend your life worrying that something's going to happen, because for the most part, they're pretty safe. You have to plant those good seeds so they make good decisions. They know good from bad, and they make wise choices.
So I actually think, Celia, talking to you, that part of where I'm getting this worry is that I remember growing up, my mom was always so worried. Like, she would be the one that was up waiting for us to get home. And oh my God, I couldn't I couldn't do anything. And you know what? And I feel proud that my 3 boys never broke a bone and I protected them. But this is starting to kill me. Like, I feel like I'm losing part of my soul, and I hate that feeling of fear. So what suggestions for me and other parents?
So what I highly recommend you do is you sit down with your daughter, you and Alana sit down together and say, Alana, honestly, like, if you were the mom and I was you, and, you were going out and doing stuff, I hope you can understand that I get worried. I want you to be safe. You're my baby. You're my blood. You came out of me. You are a part of me. And I honestly don't want anything to happen to you. I know I can't be with you all the time, but I also don't want to keep you from living life. I don't want you to feel like you have to stay home all the time, or you can't go places. You can't be with your friends. You can't go have fun. I don't want you to feel that way. So I just want to sit down and talk about how I feel and be honest with you. I don't want to micromanage your life. I don't want to hover over you. But what can we do as a team together that we can put into place so that I know where you are and I feel safe with where you are, and you know how to reach me, and you know how to react if you feel unsafe? What do you suggest? And let her suggest stuff. Kids are crazy smart.
I'm going to do this.
Let them brainstorm it with you. You guys can get a piece of paper. Someone can be, the writer downer, the recording secretary. I don't know if the writer downers.
I love the writer downer. I will take this. This is great advice.
And brainstorm. Okay, we could do this. We could do, if we're in this situation, like if there's a situation that she has that is normally one that causes you stress, just focus on that one. Okay, so here's the last time I felt like I was like nuts, and she'll like that. She'll like that you're nuts. We all like when our parents are going crazy. And let's put down all the ideas we have so that I can feel better when you're in that situation again. And that so you don't have to worry about me worrying about you. I mean, because you realize then she's got the now job. I got to worry about mom because mom, I just know, I know she's losing her head right now. I know she's like wondering where I am. She's traveling the streets in search of me. And here I am in my bedroom and she doesn't even know it because she's gone on like massive search of her daughter. So, teamwork.
Oh God, when you said that, it made me realize I'm just giving her more stress.
Yes, you are. Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
I appreciate this. So tell me,
Yes,
all right, so what do you have for books? Tell me about your business, like your whole business setup. So we get, good, you have a book there.
Are my books. So here's Raising Happy Toddlers, How to Build Great Parenting Skills. And
wait, are those pictures of kids that you know? Are they family or stuff?
They are 1,000% not pictures of children I know. And after I did this, I was like, why didn't I put my grandkids on there? Wouldn't that have been boring?
I love it. That's a cute book, though. I love it.
I think because my granddaughter's like, well, how come I'm not on here, Gemon? I'm like, well, that's a good question. But
everyone needs it. Every parent needs this book. So this book, what is the age group for this book?
Well, it's written like a manual. I mean, I literally wrote this book like a manual because parents always say, kids don't come with a manual. Well, now they do. I wrote it. But this book, it's targeted at toddlers, but the majority of this book is basically all the things you need in raising your children, any age. I mean, you'll see the comments on Amazon are like, I have a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old, and this book helped me. I mean, the chapter on potty training, hopefully if you have a 14-year-old, they're potty trained. If they're not, there it is in the book. But I mean, there are chapters that absolutely are directed at toddlers. I'm dropping my books. And, they're specific to toddlers, breaking habits, hopefully your 20-year-old's not sucking on a pacifier anymore. But, if they are, that's not the worst thing in life. There could be a lot worse things than sucking on pacifier at 20. But,
this is a good Mother's Day gift.
It is. It's a great or a new mom gift. The majority what's in here is getting your family on the same page, how to do family meetings, what happens if your child talks back, what's the difference between tattling and telling, all the things, because, people think these things like throwing a tantrum. I'd be willing to bet you and I and all the people listening could think of an adult they know that recently throw a tantrum. Tantrums they are not, just toddlers. Plenty of grown-ups throw tantrums. And, how do you react to it? And the way you react to a tantrum of a toddler is the same way you're going to react with a coworker who is also throwing a tantrum, And so it's a book for all ages. It is targeted at toddler because, of course, if you can start this early, that's going to be your best solution. But it's never too late to start. It is never too late to start.
I love that. I just want to say, I loved reading like the month, like, the 22 months, 23 months, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, they stop. I went to go Google 14-year-olds. There's some stuff in there, but it really is harder to find. But I definitely just want to repeat this again, that, if you're planning on having a baby, or if you have a family member, a friend that's having a baby, this book would be excellent. I wish I could go back and, oh, my son, my little Axel, my little grandson. Oh, Alex, I'll get you a book, honey. Sorry. You guys need this book. This is great.
I appreciate it. And I have 3 children's books out, all about me. Wait,
tell me about that one. What is that? What's all about me about? Wait, what's all about me about?
is fun. So All About Me is about like a day in the life of a kid. I'm like a crazy poet. Like I rhyme everything to the annoyance of all my children and grandchildren, because I like I'll say something and then I have to like keep going and rhyme it, because I'm like obsessed with like it'll come out in like kind of a rhythm, and I'll be like, oh, I have to keep going. And they're like, Mom, stop it. And
You should be a rapper.
I always write the poems of the family. So when there's a major life event, there's a poem. So yeah, I write a lot of poems. But so All About Me is like a day in the life of a child. And this is my toothbrush, and these books are geared towards toddlers. I am grateful because I am all about gratitude. I mean, I think you should be practicing daily gratitude with your child, regardless of the age, because that's how they appreciate what they have. And they're not always wanting more. That's how you grow up, how you create a grown up that is grateful and appreciative of their life and the world around them. And then lastly, and I wrote this when all of the racism and anti-racism broke out in the spring of last year, I wrote, Being Different is Fun.
Wow.
So that's all about recognizing, being willing that just because someone's different, that's when you want to learn about them and talk to them. And you may just find out that there's your best friend. And, asking questions, no matter what's different about them. I used to wear a body brace from 8th grade to 9th grade for scoliosis from my neck to my hips. And I was happy when people would say, why do you wear that? Why do you have that brace? So you learn more, and then you're like, oh, so you have curves in your spine. Okay, well, that's good. You have a brace, and it's good to get to know people, not just assume, what happens when we assume, what they're like.
I think that's beautiful.
Everybody has great qualities.
I worked for Muscular Dystrophy Association for over 10 years, and we had a program, Everyone's Different, Nobody's Perfect. And I wonder if they would be interested in that book, that, and we would go in the schools and do presentations on that to the younger kids. So that, I love that you've written books like this. I think that it makes so much sense. When I turned 13 and all my friends turned 13, my mom bought everyone the book. Remember the book, My Body, Myself?
Yes.
You know what? And they're hard to find now. And I don't even know if they're updated, but what you wrote really, like, it makes me think of, like, if I little 5-year-old would love to know, like, oh, everyone is doing all of this. I love, love, love your book. So you've got the 3 books, and now you coach parents.
I do. I have group coaching programs and one-on-one coaching, which I do. And my coaching programs last 90 days, and they can last as long as you like them to last. Some carry it longer, but in 90 days, you reform your life. My concept of coaching and helping parents is to get problems solved quickly, so that everything I work with you gets to the core of the problem. And then the symptoms, which are all the little issues that you're having daily with your children, are resolved. And what I give you are easy, understandable, success-driven, techniques. So that, like, if you're having a problem with, your toddler throwing tantrums, I tell you how to stop it. If you do this, you stop it. I'm doing a peaceful parenting challenge right now to stop parents from yelling. And the comment from one of the girls actually 2 people in the last challenge, they both said, your stuff's like magic. You tell us to do something, we do it. They listen. It's amazing.
You're really likable.
That's what I do.
Celia.
Thank you, Adrienne.
You really are, though. I'm hoping everyone out here watching this, like, you could see right away that you're easy to connect with. I really appreciate the advice you gave me too, by the way. I don't want you to think but I really do. But I really believe that this is such an important thing. The fact that you could be, so when you say group coaching, do you mean like in a Zoom room where like there's other parents and you're all kind of like sharing? And
so I have what's called a Great Kids Exceptional Parents Mastermind, and it is a group of parents We have group coaching Zoom things where we get on Zoom and everybody's on and they can ask questions and talk to each other. But I still also give all of my clients one-on-one attention because, I've been in group coaching programs where it's like you get 5 minutes to ask a question each week and you pay all this money and you get like one question answered. I am always available to my clients. I don't care what program you're in. If you hire me as a coach, even if you're in my Tranquility Tribe, my VIP group, which is a very low monthly, membership, I'm available to you. You have hired me. If you have a problem, you text me. I have jumped on the phone at 10 o'clock at night and said, okay, I said, because someone texted me and I'm like, let's solve this right now. And in 20 minutes, that child's in bed and things are done because that's what you hire me for.
I got chills. That's a big problem, right? Sleeping. Yeah. So are you familiar with Clubhouse?
Yes, I'm on Clubhouse.
You are.
And I have
okay, good.
Chat every Saturday, 10 a.m. Plug. Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern time, the parent chat.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to find you because I think that's fantastic. And I think that Clubhouse is obviously like a really great platform for you because I don't see a lot of like the different rooms for parenting. So I think that's fantastic. I really enjoyed talking with you. I am so grateful for you coming on.
Thank you. I'm grateful for you having me. I really
my gosh.
It because I'm trying to get the word out. I've got a million parents to stop yelling by the end of the year. So, and I have an Elephant Journal article, which if it's okay, I mention.
Yes, please.
If you don't know what the Elephant Journal is, I actually just found out about it on January 7th. And I know that date because I wrote my article on January 8th. It's an online magazine. It's great. It's got great stories. It's got all kinds of great articles. And I found out about it on the 7th. I'm like, I'll just write an article on how to stop yelling at your kids once and for all. So I wrote that on January 8th. I haven't checked it today, but as of yesterday, which is just a little over a month and a couple weeks, that article has been read almost 150,000 times and shared 160,000 times and shared about 50,000 times. And so if you don't think in this day of COVID and all this stress and chaos, that people don't need to know how to stop yelling at their kids, they need to know how to stop yelling at their kids. And it's called the Elephant Journal, and the article is How to Stop Yelling at Your Kids Once and for All. And I actually tell you what to do to stop. So it's necessary. Absolutely.
It is. I also think that if there's a way to get these books, if states can buy your books to give also to foster parents, that could really make a difference too, and really continue, because often when you're a foster parent, you may not really be giving enough resources to really understand. If you haven't raised your own child, then your book actually should be given to the social workers so that when they go to actually work, that they have some knowledge too, and they can carry on the advice. So I don't know if you ever thought of that, but it may be worth it to get it.
No, that's a great idea.
And I would probably
have more ideas, Adrienne. I love your
just thinking the Department of Children and Families and the Department of Public Health are really the ones that need this book too, because when we look at all the issues that we have in the world, it comes down to the children's brain, and the trauma, I know, changes how anyone can be. So, and then yelling, we don't really think yelling is a trauma, but the way you just explained it in the beginning of the call. So your book, we need to, all of us, everyone, if you're listening to me, we all need to get this book in the hands of parents, because this is our future. We don't have anything other than our future.
That's right. And look at what's going on today. You can see by the aggressive behavior, these adults were not raised in calm, cooperative situations. They were raised aggressively. They grew up aggressively. They learned how to handle emotion of disappointment and of, being told no, and of not agreeing with someone else. They learned how to handle it in an aggressive manner instead of in a calm, understanding, compassionate manner.
Hashtag children are watching. I really use that as you know what, we have to remember they're watching the news, they're watching everything, they need to know what's going on. So I totally agree with you. So all
And
right,
they're
so Celia,
especially
thank you.
watching you.
What was that?
And they're especially watching you. And I'll leave one thing for you parents to remember, and that is everything you do, you give your children permission to do. Everything you do, you give your children permission to do. So if you don't like what you're doing, if you don't like that they're doing it, it's you who needs to change because they're watching everything you do.
Wow. Wow. I really, that's whew, woo.
Not in the face.
Yeah, that really is. You're right. I mean, we know that, but that's so incredibly true. Wow, those are words to live by. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. This was fantastic, and thank you for taking with my daughter calling. So I got to find out what's going on with that green light now. But that's something I wanted to give her. I wanted to give her responsibility. So having the green light credit card or, debit card, whatever that is, gives her responsibility, gives her, like, so she gets whatever I give her, for their chores when she works. I don't ask her for a lot of time, just bathroom and bedroom, her own stuff to do. And then she gets rewarded. So I am consistently trying, but I want to be the best parent I can.
Money management, which is important.
Yeah.
That's an important thing to teach your children.
You are awesome. Thank you for everything you're doing. I feel so much better. We're going to have a much better future. So go out and buy the books. I'll list them all down so that you can get them when I put this up together. This will go on YouTube too. And thank you so much. I really cannot thank you enough.
Thank you, Adrienne. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Bye-bye. I'm going to stop streaming. That was great. Wow. Okay.